Yo, yo, yo. What's up, YouTube? Today is going to be a good topic. Um, yeah, America. It's just, America's a shame. I look at America as embarrassing and very, very unfruitful. Yeah, yeah, we can find out today. Fuck the court system. Fuck the judge. Fuck the prosecution. Fuck the AUSA. Fuck. It's time for us to call it out. We gotta call it out. Can't keep sitting here getting bullied. How can we let the American court system keep taking advantage of us like this? Just crushing us every time we go over bond hearings. Bond hearings, the most simple. Bond hearing is the most simple part of the case. How can you not grant me a bond with all this technology you got out here? America is very capable of letting me fight my case from home. And they don't even need a lot of resources to do that. They got the ankle monitor. And if I do like get rid of the ankle monitor and try to move, they're gonna find me less than an hour. Less than 15 minutes. That is a constitutional right that I deserve. If I'm going to that courtroom and you're accusing me something that you don't know for sure if it's me or not, I have a right to go home and prove you wrong. I can prove you wrong from home. Then you don't want to give me bond because you pretty much want to sentence me. You want to sentence me before I actually get proven guilty. So even if I bent the case, I'm still going to serve a sentence. So the courts is winning hands down. And to me, that is a very bad and unconstitutional thing that's going on in the system. I don't care what the charges are. I am innocent until I'm proven guilty. And the burden is on the prosecution to prove that I'm guilty. Until that court day comes, until we're in trial form, until the 12th jury is put in that box, I am innocent. And an innocent man deserves a bond, to be out on bond. And that's crazy. We should be out on recognizance. For real, we shouldn't even be charged to be out. Automatic release home under custody, so that way you can enjoy the comforts of your home, fight your case. I can also, it gives me time to get things in order. It gives me time to put my life in order, just in case I lose the case. But you want to keep me in prison because you want to torture me before the actual trial date. You're trying to break me. You're trying to break me down, so I'll take that stupid ass deal you're trying to offer me. And this is an atrocity in our American judicial system. They are disrespecting the laws they wrote, the Constitution they wrote. And we're sitting here on the outside looking in, right? Because we have no connection to the person. And we're saying, oh, yeah, he's guilty. He's guilty. Oh, he did it. Let me be honest with you. In this country, everybody deserves a fair trial. And part of having a fair trial is my bond hearing. Now, the only way I can agree with the courts that the bond hearing be denied is if I have history of running from the police, if I've been violent towards the police, if I've committed violent acts toward the police when they let me go, or were some sort of confrontation. If I had a history of showing that I'm not going to be cooperative. If you let me out, I'm going to run for it. If I don't have that type of history, then I need to be granted my bond. See, here's the process of a bond hearing. The bond hearing is to see that you're a flight risk. And the only way they can prove that you're a flight risk, that you ran before, right? Just because you got money and nice things don't mean that you're a flight risk, right? It doesn't mean that you are a person that's going to run from your case. All that means is that when they say to prove that you're a flight risk, I have to have some sort of history. I have to have a proof. You have to, the district attorney has to prove that I've ran before. But what are they doing in the courts? They're saying, oh, well, this person, this person has a violent case. Yeah, but I'm innocent until I'm proven guilty. It's not I'm guilty until proven innocent. But this is where the court system has flipped. Because now what they're saying is you're guilty before you're proven innocent. When they deny you your bond, they're saying you're guilty right now. You got to prove your innocence, even though the law states the burden of proof is on the district attorney office, or aka the prosecutor, right? So today I'm going to bring up Y.W. Melly, right? He's been in jail for 7 years. They did 7 years fighting his case. 7 years fighting his case. What up, Lloyd? Yes. Shout out. Shout out. So we're going to go into that, and we're going to listen to why the court system is violating this man's right to a bond. Why is the court system denying this man his constitutional right to fight his case from the comfort of his home? And this is the constitutional right that's afforded to every American, unless proven otherwise.
7 years without even getting a sentence yet. A famous lawyer, Bradford Cohen, said, "When I worked this case 7 years ago, I said the trial should happen in 6 months. The state wasn't ready. The case was a mess. Witnesses weren't reliable. Moving fast was the key to win. But Melly made a different choice, and that's why we're here now." The judge saying how long Melly's been locked up.
No, but let me repeat myself. Mr. Devins has to make an informed decision about who he wants his lawyers to be. He's now been sitting in our jail for 2,159 days. So how long would you like to be able to make that decision?
I can't determine when the investigation will be over. That's up to the Broward Sheriff's Office, but I can, as I said, I'm just asking for a week, and then I'm asking for at least a day or two.
You can decide by tomorrow. I've also reserved all of tomorrow.
Even the judge looked surprised. It's been over 2,000 days and still no final answer in court. The judge asked the prosecutors to give a good reason why Melly shouldn't be let out, or he would let him go on bond. That moment brought a big reaction from Melly's mom, who shared her thoughts about his bond request.
We just still praying. I know I said I would I'll keep everybody updated with what's happening. I know right now we're waiting. So basically the judge is going to do, I guess, a written order. So we're just waiting, and that order can come any minute, or it could come tomorrow. I don't know. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting. So everybody just keep praying, keep having faith. Oh, Tessa, stop. I've been crying too. It's been a long time coming, you know.
Lawyers filed a new bond plan that caught attention. His team said the bond money would come from his label, 300 Entertainment. If accepted, Melly would stay at home, wear a monitor, and have 24-hour guards. The offer looked strong. One rapper even wrote, "Melly coming home, I feel it." His team also added proof from Melly's mom, showing how badly he's been treated in jail.
You saw Melly's statement just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life. As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
Melly's lawyers also showed GPS proof that Melly ran away when the crime happened, hiding in bushes during the supposed shooting.
Part where he's saying that someone just shut the car up and was trying to shoot them. So I asked him if he was okay, where he was, and he's like, "There's cars coming behind him, like hiding." He was like, "There's some," yeah. He's like, "Yeah, there's some. I think they're still out here or something." So I'm like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "I'm okay." I said, "Well, where are Zach and Juby?" And he said, "I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're."
To prove Melly might be innocent, the lawyers also said the gun used was never found. They argued that the real shooter must have left with the weapon.
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which I'm going to use.
See, all this is speculation. They don't really know who the shooter is. All this is a presumption. The presumption, the probability is maybe perhaps he's a shooter. And we're going to try to convince you without truly knowing, without truly having the proof to prove that he did this crime. But in that, they're going to deny him his bond because we think he did it. That is not a probable reason or a lawful reason or a constitutional reason to deny a person their bond so they can fight it from their home. And in prison is not the best conditions, right? The cops are evil. No, they cause trouble amongst inmates. They're part of the problem, right? They're just as worse as the inmates, if not worse, in my opinion. The food is definitely an atrocity, right? The food is horrendous. You got to shower once with 10 people, with all the bacteria all around you, right? then you're in a situation where now every time you go to court, they want you to get butt naked. They want to touch on your ball. They want you to bend over. They want you to do all this cough, breathe. They want you to do all these demeaning things because, they want to break you. They want to treat you like shit, right? They don't take you in a private room and search you to make sure you don't have anything on you. They want to line you up with 200 other dudes and all y'all get naked and do all this shit while they, demean you. The county jail is probably worse than actual prison as far as the treatment of inmates, right? How they're treated is not a good place, definitely not a great place to fight your case from. But just understand, he's been in jail 2,159 days. And he has not been proven guilty yet. This man has served a whole sentence. 7 years fighting a case. That's a whole prison system. That's a sentence right there. It's 7 years to fight a case. You have done a lot of time already. Even if you're found not guilty, you are pretty much served a sentence already if you're guilty or not guilty. And this is the flaws, and this is the flaw in the judicial system, right? They don't want, they want people to suffer while they fight. They want people to suffer while they fight. This place called prison is meant to break you before you get tried. They try to make you confess, right? They make the conditions so bad, they want you to basically, if you got a lie to say you did it, that's obviously what they want to do. They're not putting you in jail because you're a threat to society, because they can contain you. America can contain you. Put you in a house, and like I said, he's going to have 2 prison guards there 24/7. Paid for by his labor. Right? And the judge was even like looking at the prosecutor, like, you guys got this man in prison. You guys won't let him out, and you have not yet proven him guilty. This is once again the flaws in our judicial system. They wrote the whole Constitution. They gave us all, well, you have a right to a fair trial. The bond is a right, as long as you haven't done nothing, like try to evade us or hurt us in the past. There's no reason for us to deny your bond. So this is a very, very bad system.
In order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what was used.
Okay.
But the prosecutors didn't back down. They brought new proof. They said Melly was secretly recorded saying he killed Sack Chaser and Juvie. Just 5 hours after the killing, video showed Melly and Bortland celebrating in a parking lot.
Which is Bortland and Melly celebrating in a parking lot.
Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! No, still turned. Regardless of what happened, you already know.
That video didn't show any sadness for the friends who died. It matched with other video of the YNW crew getting into a Jeep, and Melly was seen getting in the back left seat, just before Sack Chaser and Juvie entered.
Should be able to see. Yes, all right.
Court papers said the bullets came from left to right, showing the shots came from the back left seat, where Melly sat. Even Juvie's mom confirmed who sat where in the car.
Can you state your name, your full legal name for the jury? Leon Phillips. Okay. And are you related to one of the kids in this case? Yes, I am. How so? I'm his mother. And who is that? Christopher Thomas. Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep? Yes. Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep? Yes. Which seat, if you can identify for the jury? He got in the back seat on the right hand side. Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side? Yes. And who was that individual? Julianne.
But the prosecutors kept changing their case, now offering deals to Bortlen and Melly's ex-girlfriend to testify against him. Melly's ex was supposed to speak at the first trial, but she had left the country and was hiding for 3 years. When she came back, she got arrested.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
The judge made Mariah sign papers to be released, and those papers said she had to speak in Melly's next trial. On Facebook, she wrote, "Thanks to my village. Love y'all. God's plan, not mine." Mariah is going to talk about the witness tampering Melly is accused of. Police looked into her iCloud and found scary stuff. If Melly is guilty of witness tampering, he could get life in prison, even if he's found innocent in the murders of Sack Chaser and Juvie.
State filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
Because of the witness tampering, Melly can't use jail phones for 1 whole year. Officials were scared he might still try to mess with the case. This really hurt Melly's mom, and she shared how painful it's been in this interview.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail. They don't give it to him.
But what Bortlen does next could decide everything. Prosecutors are pushing Bortlen to turn on Melly, since Melly tried to blame Bortlen. During the first trial,
those were his lives. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. And you don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with 2 bodies, car riddled with bullets. And when he...
So here we are, 2,159 days, and they still have not gave YNW Melly a bond so he can go home and fight this case. 7 years in prison, fighting. And the court has not yet found him guilty, nor have juries of his peers found him guilty. It was a hung jury because they were split. So right there, that proves that the prosecution did not prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And automatically he should have been granted a bond because it's a constitutional right to have a bond. Listen, every American has a right, that's been given to him by the Constitution. God, you are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Until you are proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, you will be allowed, the Constitution says, you have a right to a fair trial, and you have a right to a bond hearing and to be released on bond as long as you do not have any prior history of running for the police or beef with the police. That's the only reason why you should be denied bond. But the charges which you've been charged are allegations. They're not, the charges are the charge of guilt. Their charges are allegations, allegedly. That's why everybody says allegedly. And if it's alleging, meaning we don't know for sure if he did it or not, but we're going to try, the prosecution is going to try to prove that you're guilty to 12 people in a box, means you're innocent. And you shouldn't have to spend 7 years in jail innocent. So now we're here, right? The judge and the prosecution is playing games. Judge asks us, how much time you need? He's been here 2,159 days, which equates to 7 years and a few days here and there. That's a lot of fucking time. You should be allowed to go home to your family. You should be allowed to fight your case. You should be allowed to fight your case from the comfort of your home while these people, the prosecution, the state, try to figure out, do they have enough juice to prove whether you're guilty? And if the jury finds you not guilty, then they find you not guilty. But why I got to be in prison to prove my innocence? Prison is for the guilty. Prison is for the guilty, not the non-guilty.
He shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry.
Turns out Portland lied to the cops. He had gunpowder on his hands and was with Sack Chaser and Juvie when they were killed. The prosecutors even got an expert to talk about the gunpowder found on Portland.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of hot residue and two component particles. And the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of hot residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was hot residue present on the hands.
Portland hated that. After Melly's mistrial, Portland tweeted, "Mind games don't work on people like me," with a handshake emoji like he might be ready to make a deal. Prosecutors plan to try Melly and Portland together again, hoping the pressure makes Portland flip.
Here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It's just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial.
Because if Portland faces murder charges knowing he didn't shoot, he won't want a life sentence. The prosecutors also plan to use what he said during his first police talk after the murder.
Okay, tell me what happened.
Then I was playing music, getting off the exit. I was already getting sleepy, almost home. You know what I'm saying? And like just out of nowhere, like I just heard, you know what I'm saying? So and I ducked down, you know what I'm saying?
So we hear once again, right? Being in jail, proving your innocence, or they're proving your guilt, is not fair when they don't know for sure if it's you or not. It's not fair. America, in my opinion, is violating the Constitution which they wrote. Who cares about what our personal feelings are? The law is the law. And the same thing happened in Melly's case, the same thing happened in Diddy's case. Young Thug, right? They denied the bond. I'm not saying that Diddy's a good guy. I'm not saying YNW Melly's innocent. I'm not here to say Diddy's innocent. I'm not here to say Young Thug's innocent. Right? And I'm not saying what they deserve or what they don't deserve when it comes to if they're guilty of the crime, if they're convicted. What I am saying is the process should be the process, right? It should be according to law. If the man does not have a history of any evading the police, any dealing with the police where it's, he's intimidating or doing something, he should be granted bond on the conditions of probation. They could put an ankle monitor around his ankle, and they could have him check in every hour on hour during reasonable times of phone service, meaning between the hours of, we'll say, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call in every hour to whoever your probation officer is. I'm here. I'm checking in, saying that I'm home. I'm on home confinement. And they just log it in their books, and boom. And then your court date is whatever your court date is. So this is a simple solution. But you know what? The courts just don't give a fuck about it. They just don't give a fuck about us. They don't. Now we're going to go over to the Diddy. We're going to go over to the Diddy. Right? We're going to go over to the Diddy case, and we're going to look at that. Right? The same.
Bad boy for life still ring true for Sean Combs, aka Diddy. Is he feeling remorseful for his past actions that have him still facing a years-long prison sentence, even though he's been found not guilty on the more serious charges he once faced? Great questions, right? Well, according to new reports, it seems like the Bad Boy Records founder is seeking help while still locked up in a detention center. So is this a self-reckoning, or is it a ploy to look good for the judge ahead of his October sentencing? Thanks for joining us on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner. Not gonna lie, I thought it'd be a while again before I talk about Sean Diddy Combs. I mean, I did just spend the last 2 months being there every day for trial, but here we are. So they're going through a months-long trial where a lot, and I mean a lot, was put on display, change him, or at least maybe change his team for the future. Well, hard to tell. But according to reports, he signed himself up for self-help therapy programs to address his drug use and violence against women. By this point, we all know Sean Combs was found not guilty of RICO conspiracy and sex trafficking his former girlfriends Cassie and the woman known in his trial as Jane. I saw and heard both these women testify myself. And let's just say some of their testimony, I don't know if I'll be able to get it out of my brain. But maybe what they testified to actually struck a chord with Diddy. According to a report by TMZ, their sources say Sean Combs enrolled himself into a STOP program at MDC Brooklyn. So what's the STOP program? It's a course for inmates with the focus of preventing sexual assault, domestic violence, and dating violence. Oh, and per those same reports, he's reportedly undergoing therapy and in a drug abuse program reportedly conducted by Dr. Harry X. Wexler. Now, during the trial, we heard a lot about drugs: ketamine, cocaine, weed, molly, shrooms, GHB, 2C, or pink cocaine. Federal prosecutors said previously drugs were a key ingredient for the freak-offs or hotel nights or wild king nights, whatever you want to call them. Meanwhile, the defense claimed Sean Combs struggled with drug addiction, and any drug use was just personal and for private use. And we heard testimony about the rampant drug use too, from Cassie and Jane, where they both claimed they couldn't go through freak-offs or hotel nights without drugs, to the many assistants like Mia or George Kaplan, or even Brendan Paul, where they observed Sean Combs doing drugs. Some even partook in drugs to prove their loyalty, or picked up drugs on Combs' behalf. Or the many of text messages shown about drug costs, reimbursements for drugs, etc. Then another theme that played throughout the trial was the excruciating amount of testimony about domestic violence, especially during Combs' relationship with Cassie. I mean, we all saw the Intercontinental Hotel surveillance tape. We heard the subsequent apology after portions of the footage were released publicly. But we also heard about violence toward Jane and Combs' former assistant Mia, and Cassie's stylist Deontay, and Cassie's former best friend Carrie Morgan. The defense even owned up to the domestic violence many times during the trial, something even the judge used as part of the reason to keep Combs locked up pending sentencing. The judge said during the bond hearing, at trial the defense conceded defendant's violence in a personal relationship, saying it happened in relation to Cassie Ventura and Jane. Judge Subramanian even pointed out there was violent and illegal conduct even after the HSI raids on his homes, saying that this highlights a disregard for the rule of law and a propensity of violence. But according to the report by TMZ, their source says Combs wants to use their jail programs to better himself. But there are skeptics of Combs' motivation to do the programs now. Is it too little too late? Or does this polish him up for the judge so Mark Agnifilo can say in court, "Look, Your Honor, my client did these programs. He wants to be a better man." I mean, I wouldn't put it past Mark Agnifilo to say that at the upcoming sentencing hearing. He said something along those lines of this when he was making arguments for Sean Combs to get bond after the verdict. Now, Combs reportedly started getting drug treatment before his arrest last year, even though the feds say he was found with drugs in his hotel room the night he was arrested. And Mark Agnifilo previously said Jane helped Diddy get into a batterers program before his ultimate arrest. We'll see if the self-work paid off, or if it's too little too late when Combs is ultimately sentenced in less than 3 months. Well, I'm joined now by trial attorney Adante Pointer. Adante, always great to see you. Is it no longer bad boy for life? What are your thoughts on these courses that Sean Combs is reportedly enrolled in? Are you buying that it's actually making him a better person, or do you think it's just trying to make him look better in front of the judge before sentencing?
Well, I think two things can be true at the same time. One is, yes, those courses are designed, they're instituted, they give inmates, if you will, access to those courses, because the belief is those courses will help, a person's behavior and curb them from doing things that would find them in front of a judge. I also could see that serving a dual purpose. Second purpose being it makes you look much better in front of the judge. As I told all my clients, if you're doing things that the court can recognize that is actually helping you deal with the behavior that puts you in front of the judge in the first place. So here, violence against women, domestic violence is something that the courts is a big no-no in society as well as the court. And so I can see the fact that he's taking these classes being something that the judge will take into consideration during his sentencing. And on top of that, the drug class is the same thing, because I believe, if I was Diddy's attorney and given the way the evidence came in, I'd certainly be like, look, these things happen during dark times where I was in a drug, induced haze to where I was doing and acting in ways that I am ashamed about now. But during that time, it was because drug, sex addiction, and things like that I'm now addressing.
Well, you actually kind of sound like Diddy's defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, because he literally made essentially the exact same argument, especially during the bond hearing. But I'm curious to know, obviously there are skeptics of this where they think it's strictly just to look good, it's just for good press, all of that stuff. Yeah. But in your opinion, do you think that these courses are just too little too late? I mean, the defense was saying that he was trying to get help before, he was trying to get help to address his drug use previously, that Jane was helping him get into a batterers program. But do you think it's too little too late?
Well, it's too little too late for his victims, okay? But it's not too little too late for the rest of the people he's going to encounter while he continues to live out the rest of his life. And so you can't slam the door on redemption. You can't slam the door on someone trying to address destructive behavior. So I think, he does get some kudos for enrolling.
So as you see here, right, even after the prosecution or AUSA proved to be reaching, that the very things that, they try to accuse him of, a lot of that stuff was bogus. And the courts erroneously erred in this case. A lot of his constitutional rights were violated. Trial wasn't fair. You couldn't question the witnesses in an aggressive manner because they were victims, although the witnesses were, ordering up sex workers for themselves, although the witnesses was, organizing their own freak-offs, organizing their own, they were indulging in a way where they enjoyed. Now with the violence, hey, they could have called the police right there. Once he put her hands on her, when she went out shopping, she could have called the police and had him booked right then and there. 11 years later, you want to talk about something that you didn't even have the audacity to call the police on yourself? As we see, Diddy's not bigger than the program. If you're not scared now, you weren't scared then. Right? So now we're going to leave. We're going to go into some more information here. We're going to holler at my man Unc. He's pretty, I like his energy. And he's going to give us some more information on, you know,
Welcome to the podcast. So, Sean G. Saturday, June 26th. Saturday, July 26th. Please share this video. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't like it, you can give it a thumbs down. Do whatever you feel. Want to give a shout out to all of my subscribers. Welcome any new subscribers. I was called out by Gene Deal, and we're gonna deal with that.
Because they trying to mislead the people. They trying to mislead the kids. They trying to mislead the people. And this is why I do what I do. Listen to this shit right here, y'all. Listen to this shit right here. Did y'all see this? Remember I told you they was gonna pay niggas and they was gonna do niggas, have niggas do all kind of crazy shit. Listen to this dumb shit. Buffy is the king of New York.
So, Gene Deal, number one, I don't know you and you don't know me. And why you would come for me, I have the slightest idea. But I got some more footage that we're going to get into to talk about why. Now, you said that you don't want to mislead the people, you don't want to mislead the kids. And that's exactly what you've done for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, however many years you've had your channel, where you have slandered, you've engaged in libel, you've engaged in defamation, you've engaged in reputation.
Is that the new shit in the streets?
How would you know what the streets is, 5-0 nigga, police ass nigga? What do you know about the streets? Officer Gene Deal reporting for duty.
Kidnapping, arson, that's the Kid Cudi case. They are alleging aiding and abetting in sex trafficking. They are slimming that all down so that they're not going to kind of
alleging. All this is a bunch of bullshit. Alleging what? Nobody likes people to allege anything about them. This is very disrespectful. And like our government is disrespecting us. You know, and these are the people who a lot of Americans praise, right? A lot of Americans look up to. But the question is America, do they prey on their own people? Well, of course. Do they hunt their own people? Of course.
burden and overwhelm the jury
They're saying
with
that,
instructions.
Right. They're saying that to the judge that when you give the jury their instructions, just leave out the attempted kidnapping, leave out attempted arson,
But they're
aiding
saying,
and abetting.
They're saying
Leave
there's
it out
no
of
actual kidnapping.
Yes.
Now they're trying to amend the charges. I'll leave that out because they know they weren't going to. They know they weren't going to get a guilty verdict on that. I'll leave this out because they know they weren't going to get the verdict on it. Crooks. They put them on there. They just threw them charges on there. You know, hoping, and this is a miscarriage of justice. This is a miscarriage of justice. We got a bunch of prosecutions just up here throwing shit around. Just, oh, well, let's put this on there. See if we can get him on this. You know? So we have here, you know what I mean? We have here the court system being very crooked, very, you know, they're no different than the gangsters they prosecute. So let's listen to this.
Happened, y'all. Stephen A. Smith Show in the house, special edition. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you usually at the very least 3 times a week over the digital airways of YouTube. Having said all of that, forget all of that because that don't matter today. Today is a special edition, and I'm getting right into it. Let's get started. P. Diddy was found not guilty on 3 of those charges. The Diddy sex trafficking trial verdict is in. Jurors in Sean Diddy Combs' federal criminal trial acquitted him of the most serious charges, racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, but found him guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Combs could receive a prison sentence of up to 20 years. The maximum is 10 for each of the transportation counts. If he had been convicted of any of the other counts, the 55-year-old could have faced life imprisonment. The defense has asked that Combs be released while he awaits sentencing instead. A request the prosecution opposed, of course. The judge said he'll make a decision after the sides submit letters at 1 p.m. Eastern time earlier today. At the time of this taping, we were still awaiting a decision from the judge as to whether or not P. Diddy would be let out on bail. After the verdict, Combs faced the courtroom gallery and clapped, and his family and friends erupted in applause. Ladies and gentlemen, to a lot of you, this was a shock. As this trial unfolded, I can't sit up here and say to you today that it's a shock. Because time and time again, we repeatedly asked on this show, where is the case for sex trafficking being made? Where is the case for racketeering and those RICO charges? Where is that being made? And the jury spoke earlier today and said it wasn't made, not enough to our satisfaction. And as a result, we are going to let him out. What exactly did they let him out on? Let's go over that again. Count 1, racketeering conspiracy, up to life in prison. That was the penalty. P. Diddy was found not guilty. Count number 2, sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura, his former girlfriend, that we saw him on video hitting and kicking. That drew a minimum of 15 years and a maximum of life imprisonment if convicted. He was found not guilty. Count number 4, sex trafficking of Jane, the Jane Doe, another ex-girlfriend, a minimum of 15 years and a maximum of life imprisonment. He was found not guilty. For those of you who don't understand it, Jane is basically a placeholder named in the U.S. and some other legal systems when the identity of a person is withheld, okay? So that's why they say Jane Doe. He was found not guilty on that charge. Here's the charges he was found guilty on. Transporting individuals, including but not limited to Cassie Ventura, to engage in prostitution. A maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. He was found guilty on that charge. He was also found guilty on transporting individuals, including but not limited to Jane, to engage in prostitution. Basically, same charge, two different people, the Jane Doe and Cassie Ventura. He was found guilty on both of those charges. So the worst case scenario is that he could be sentenced to 10 years in prison for each, okay? And that he could face up to 20 years. Everybody that I've spoken to, and I'm about to bring you two legal experts to explain all of this to you. Everybody that I've spoken to said, forget 20 years. He's not even getting 10. In all likelihood, it won't be 5. And there's a slim possibility that he'll get 2 to 3 years. So you've got people out there speculating that it could be 1 to 0 as it pertains to the amount of time that P. Diddy spends in jail. Why on earth would that happen? Well, there's a couple of reasons to point to. Clearly, the Southern District of New York, an elite prosecution unit, didn't do their job well enough. So they didn't get him on sex trafficking. They didn't get him on racketeering. They didn't get.
So, as we see, point proven. What a corrupt court system that we have. I'm going to end this stream, and I'm going to start another stream in about 10 minutes, a different topic. Thank you for coming. Thank you for viewing. I'll be back in 10 minutes.